Good afternoon and welcome to our last midday briefing of the week, the fifth in a row. It's been an intense week. We're sharing with you, like we normally do on Fridays, the agenda of President von der Leyen for next week. On Tuesday, the President will chair the meeting of the College of Commissioners here in Brussels. On Thursday and Friday, President von der Leyen will be in Belém in Brazil, where she will be participating in the COP30 UN Climate Change Conference. And lastly, on Sunday, the President will travel to Santa Marta in Colombia to participate in the EU-CELAC summit with the community of Latin American and Caribbean states. And this is all for the agenda of the President for next week. Now, let me welcome a group of 27 visitors that are joining us today. I am told that you are journalists covering regional and local affairs and that you come from 13 member states. If the information I have is correct, it's Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Czechia, Denmark, Greece, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. So I hope you enjoy your time here with us in the European Commission and, of course, in particular in this press room today. You're very welcome. Happy to have you here. And that is all for us today. We can now take your questions. Let's start with the press room. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Ilza Nagla from Latvian television. Latvian parliament yesterday voted to withdraw from Istanbul Convention that protects women from violence. What is the Commission's take? Are you worried about the backsliding of women's rights in Latvia?
Anna Kaiser replacing Eva today.
Indeed, we saw the vote in Latvia's parliament yesterday to withdraw from the Istanbul Convention, and our information is that before this process is finalised, the President of Latvia still needs to consider and formalise this vote. So therefore, before we give comments on this possible decision, we want to see the full national domestic process to be finalised in Latvia before commenting it further.
Thanks, Anna Kaiser. David, is it on this?
Yes, thank you. David Carretta, Radio Radicale. It's more general because we are seeing more and more member states that are deviating from position adopted by the Council on Foreign Policy. Another example is Hungary on the International Criminal Court, or even Italy, who refused to arrest Libyan, let's say, official who was wanted by the International Criminal Court. Now Latvia withdrawing from the Istanbul Convention, and so on and so on. So I know that in the past the European Commission launched some infringement procedure against some member states, in particular Hungary, on this issue, the fact that they don't respect any more EU position on foreign policy. Why you are so soft or hesitating in this period on those member states? Thank you.
I will only be able to take that question now from the angle of what is happening now in Latvia and the situation that concerns the Istanbul Convention, which is to prevent and combat violence against women and domestic violence. What is important when we look into member states possibly withdrawing from international conventions is that these conventions in their text give the guidance whether any country can accede, how the countries can accede and how they can withdraw, how this is legally possible. So in the case of Istanbul Convention, it is possible for a country to withdraw. What is important, because you mentioned infringement, we have to then also understand that the Commission has competence only in our area, in the area where we have exclusive competence. European Union exceeded the Istanbul Convention in 23 as regards certain parts of the Convention. This means that these parts where we exceeded the convention, they are part of the EU acquis, which means that those parts are part of the EU legal order, which means that all member states are bound by them. So as regards us infringing or launching any processes against our member states in any cases, there needs to be a legal competence for us to do that. You mentioned several international conventions, etc. So for any country to exceed or withdraw from international conventions, these are between the countries and the international conventions and the rules set therein. The question comes whether the European Union or the European Commission is party and member and has accessed these conventions, and how far the text of these conventions is part of the EU acquis, our legal order. I hope this clarifies this. But in the case of Latvia, I will not go into any kind of speculation what are the next steps, what will happen. The next step that will happen in Latvia when the President will deliberate on the Parliament's vote and will take his decision.
Thanks. Is it on this same matter? Go ahead.
Yes, good morning. Vincenzo Genovese from Euronews. Thank you, Anna Kaisa, for explaining the technicalities. But when Turkey withdrew from the Istanbul Convention in 2021, President von der Leyen said, I am deeply worried about the fact that Turkey withdrew from the Istanbul Convention. Representative Borrell said, we cannot but regret deeply and express incomprehension towards this decision. I mean, is the European Commission saying something on what, now that the member states of the EU is doing the same? Thank you very much.
Let's again take one step at a time. There was a vote in the Parliament, and before the national process of withdrawing from anything, before it's concluded, it will need the decision of the President. And our reaction, if any, will come after that. We do always respect national processes in our member states. We do not start commenting on this before the democratic national processes are finalized.
You have another question on the same topic. Go ahead.
I wanted to follow up to clarify. So if the EU has acceded to the convention in 2023, and now in case Latvia completely leaves the convention, those parts that Europe has acceded to will still be relevant to Latvia and will need to be implemented. Is that correct?
This is correct. And this concerns not just Latvia, all our member states. All our member states. So EU acceded in certain parts, including certain areas of the convention, including institutional public administration, for example, matters related to judicial cooperation and criminal matters, etc. So these areas are part of our legal order, and they are therefore applicable in all member states. But this we will then, of course, see once there is a final decision, political decision taken in Latvia.
Thanks, Anna-Kaisa. I think... more questions on this? Okay, go ahead. And then Mose from Remote.
Yeah, hi, Gerardo Fortuna from Politico. Having considered everything you said, Anna-Kaisa, it means that Latvia going to infringe the EU acquis if they're going to pass this retreat, basically. Is it fair to say so?
We will cross that bridge when we get there. We first need to see what the decision in Latvia is, and we will then start looking into what will be the next steps.
Thanks, Mose from Remote. You had a related question, I understand.
Yes, thank you, Anna. I think it's related because it's also about women's rights. As you know, the Commission published in last May, a roadmap for women's rights and equality. And I noticed that it doesn't include anything, for example, about abortion rights, although it has a principle about health. We know that abortion is a national competency, but as you know, there is a European Citizens Initiative which has been finalized this year with more than 1 million signatures, and that called for European fund to finance for women who can't get abortion in their home countries to go to another country for care. I wonder if you have any comment on that. because the Commission will now, I suppose, plan to reply to that citizens' initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you say, this is competence of the member states. We are aware of the citizens' initiative, and it's processing as it should. I can check where we are exactly in the process of the citizens' initiative, but basically nothing further to add what you just described. It is exactly as you said that is happening. We have received the initiative and it is being processed.
Thanks, Anna-Kaisa. Other questions for Anna-Kaisa on the various files she covers, since she's here with me? Kuhn, is it for Anna-Kaisa from remote?
I think so. I'm not entirely.
Sorry?
I hear myself. Sorry.
We hear you fine. So.
Okay. Now, I was wondering about the sale from the local assets to Gunvor, if that's something that the Commission has a reaction to. Thank you.
It's not really for Anna-Kaisa. I don't know if Olof wants to come up on it, but in any case, it's, I believe, business decisions of companies, and we're not going to comment on them specifically, but if Olof wants to add anything. No? Okay. Other questions for us today? Nureddin, let's start with you.
J'ai deux questions pour Anwar et peut-être une remarque pour vous-même. Peut-être pas vous-même. Est-ce que j'ai raté que l'Union européenne est restée silencieuse sur ce débat sur la reprise des expériences nucléaires et cet échange assez sérieux et dangereux entre la Russie et les États-Unis, peut-être même la Chine? C'est pas grave si je n'ai pas de réaction maintenant, mais le silence est un peu curieux si jamais l'Union européenne n'a pas réagi sur ce sujet. Mais concernant mes questions sur le Soudan, la première question, il y a 2 ans, ou depuis 2 ans, pendant cette guerre, l'Union européenne est restée dans une position d'équidistance par rapport aux deux parties en conflit entre les deux généraux. À ce moment-là, l'attitude de l'Union européenne était très compréhensible sur le plan politique, elle avait assez d'arguments politiques. Aujourd'hui, il y a 2 éléments assez sérieux. Il y a ce qui s'est passé à Al-Fashir il y a 2 jours, donc c'est des crimes qui sont documentés par plusieurs organisations humanitaires. Deuxièmement, il y a depuis quelques mois un gouvernement civil à Khartoum qui gère une phase de transition. Et ce gouvernement civil, semble-t-il, n'a pas l'écoute de l'Union européenne, ou l'Union européenne est réticente pour entrer en dialogue avec le gouvernement de Khartoum. La dernière remarque, c'est que dans votre communiqué le 28, c'est vrai que l'Union européenne est très concernée, très préoccupée par ce qui se passe sur le plan humanitaire, mais cette attitude n'est pas allée jusqu'à condamner au moins les exécutions des populations civiles. Et c'est un tout petit peu ce décalage, me semble, je m'interroge sur les causes de ce décalage. Ma deuxième question, Anwar, c'est sur le Mali.
Question, c'était le nucléaire, et après ça... Attends,
non, le nucléaire, c'est juste la remarque. OK, d'accord.
Okay, s'il te plaît. Les nucléaires, si je peux, je pense qu'on a déjà répondu hier à la réunion de midi, donc je t'invite à les regarder. Okay. Et pour l'autre question, et après on va retourner vers toi.
Merci Ariana. Bonjour Nordine, sur ta première question sur le Soudan. Les choses sont très simples. Nous suivons la volatilité et l'évolution des événements et notre vocalité suit la synchronisation et le calendrier des événements sur le terrain. D'où notre déclaration qui a été publiée le 28 octobre pour répondre aux événements que nous avons vus à ce moment-là, c'est-à-dire la saisie d'El Fasher, capitale du Darfour, par les forces de soutien rapide que nous avons qualifié comme un tournant majeur dans la guerre qui menace d'aggraver encore plus la situation humanitaire qui est déjà désastreuse. Maintenant, quand il s'agit de la situation à laquelle tu te réfères, c'est-à-dire les pertes de vie et les attaques contre les civils, notre position, quelle est-elle? C'est la suivante. Nous avons toujours fermement condamné, nous, Union européenne, les attaques contre les civils dans le cadre de la guerre au Soudan. Tout récemment, dans les dernières conclusions du Conseil, nous avons condamné le conflit qui sévit actuellement au Soudan, qui, lui-même, ce conflit, a causé la mort de milliers de personnes et infligé d'immenses souffrances au peuple soudanais depuis plus de 2 ans. Dans le cas spécifique d'El Fasher, nous avons en effet publié cette déclaration conjointe de la haute représentante avec la commissaire Labib, dans laquelle nous avons dénoncé la brutalité des forces de soutien rapide qui ont pris pour cible des civils en raison de leur appartenance ethnique. Dans l'ensemble, nous avons réaffirmé à plusieurs reprises que la responsabilité première de mettre fin à ce conflit incombe aux dirigeants des forces armées soudanaises et des forces de soutien rapide, ainsi qu'à ceux qui soutiennent ces entités. De notre côté, nous, Union européenne, nous continuerons à être en étroite coopération et coordination avec la communauté internationale afin d'utiliser nos outils diplomatiques, y compris des mesures restrictives, cela pour rechercher une résolution pacifique du conflit et un processus de paix inclusif et durable entre Soudanais, reflétant les aspirations du peuple soudanais. Et je vais ici rappeler que nous avons déjà mis en place un régime de sanctions qui vise actuellement 10 personnes et 8 entités. Et ce régime-là a déjà été récemment été prolongé jusqu'en octobre 2026. Donc voilà quand il s'agit de notre position sur la guerre qui sévit au Soudan et les pertes de vie et les attaques contre les civils.
Merci. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions à propos du Soudan? Je vois des mains levées. C'est à propos du Soudan, c'est un follow-up? Ok, allez-y, Noureddine.
Et une question sur le Mali aussi.
On va d'abord...
Anwar, sur le Soudan,
oui.
Pardon, mais dans le communiqué, il n'est pas dit que l'Union européenne dénonce les atrocités qui étaient commises par ces groupes les forces de soutien rapide. Il est vrai que vous parlez de la brutalité de ces forces, de leur action, mais il n'y a pas de terme de dénonciation des tueries qui ont été commises à Al-Fasher. Deuxièmement, la deuxième partie de ma question sur le Soudan, c'est qu'il y a un gouvernement civil, il conduit une période de transition qui devrait à terme mener à des élections. Pourquoi l'Union européenne garde un profil bas dans l'engagement ou le dialogue ou le contact avec le gouvernement civil de Khartoum? Ça, c'est ma follow-up. Ma question sur le Soudan, est-ce que l'Union européenne est en train de préparer une opération d'évacuer son personnel diplomatique de Bamako? Y aura-t-il une opération européenne dans ce sens?
Noureddine, je cherche vraiment de gérer la salle de presse. On part du Soudan maintenant et on va revenir vers le Mali après. OK? Merci.
Mais nous reviendrons vers toi. Quand il s'agit du Soudan et de ton follow-up, alors plusieurs choses. Je vais commencer peut-être par rappeler encore une fois le calendrier. Notre déclaration conjointe du 28 octobre a répondu aux événements qui avaient eu lieu sur le terrain à ce moment-là, c'est-à-dire la saisie d'El Fasher. Maintenant, quand il s'agit de notre position que tu as perçue comme étant un manque de vocalité, je m'y oppose fermement parce que j'ai rappelé moi-même le corpus existant de la position de l'Union européenne quand il s'agit de la condamnation des pertes des civils et de l'attaque qui vise à cibler les civils. J'ai moi-même, il y a quelques secondes, condamné ici ce ciblage des civils et les attaques contre les civils dans le cadre de la guerre au Soudan. Donc la position est très claire, il n'y a absolument aucune ambiguïté. Maintenant, quand il s'agit des contacts diplomatiques, je n'ai pas vraiment saisi la granularité de ton intervention, mais je peux te dire, comme dans n'importe quel autre cadre, que les contacts diplomatiques ont vocation à rester non pas dans la sphère publique, mais dans la sphère diplomatique, c'est-à-dire derrière notre panneau, derrière nous ici. Et nous communiquons, quand il s'agit de ces contacts-là, quand nous jugeons nécessaire de le faire, mais une absence de communication ne veut pas dire qu'il y a une absence de communication diplomatique entre les interlocuteurs qui sont les nôtres. C'est là où il faut distinguer la communication publique des engagements diplomatiques qui sont les nôtres et qui se font dans la discrétion qui incombe et qui préside à la diplomatie.
Merci. Je ne vois pas des mains levées à propos du Soudan, donc je te demande de répéter ton question à propos de Mali. Merci.
La situation sécuritaire au Mali se dégrade depuis des mois de manière assez visible, selon beaucoup de sources. Ma question est, est-ce que l'Union européenne envisage de rapatrier son personnel diplomatique? Y aurait-il une opération commune donc qui concerne plusieurs États membres, leurs ressortissants ou leurs diplomates? Je vous remercie.
Alors, l'Union européenne suit de très près la situation au Mali et nous coordonnons activement nos actions avec les États membres. Ces derniers jours, des réunions régulières de coordination consulaire ont été organisées localement compte tenu de l'aggravation de la crise du carburant. Maintenant, quand il s'agit de l'aspect consulaire auquel tu t'es référé, la décision de publier un avis aux voyageurs relève de la compétence de chaque État membre. La situation évoluant rapidement, les citoyens de l'Union européenne sont invités à consulter régulièrement les conseils aux voyageurs. Quand il s'agit de la délégation en tant que telle, la délégation de l'Union européenne continue de fonctionner avec un effectif réduit.
Merci. D'autres questions affaires étrangères pour Anwar? Alex from remote, is it for Anwar? On ne t'entend pas. Il y a un souci avec le micro, je pense. Tu veux essayer à nouveau? Non, we cannot hear you. On ne t'entend pas du tout. Alors, je vais prendre d'autres questions et après, on va revenir vers toi si ça marche. Je ne vois pas d'autres demandes levées pour Anwar. Alors, je vois que c'est Mose en ligne. C'est pour Anita, mais on vient vers toi, Mose.
Okay. Thanks again, Ariana, for giving me the floor. Most upload passes time. So, I think Norden, in his questions, mentioned something about nuclear weapons. So I would like to ask about the Commission's reaction to the interview by the Belgian Defense Minister Theo Franken some days ago, when he threatened Moscow with flattening Moscow or whipping it out of the map in an interview if Belgium would be attacked by a conventional missile. That sounds awful, I think, and hardly in line with EU's diplomatic policy. So I would like to ask, although it's a statement by an EU member state, if the Commission distances itself from this type of statements. Thank you.
Thank you. Mose will not comment on comments, and I'm not the spokes of Theo Franken.
Indeed. And on our views on nuclear, we have already expressed them yesterday, how we call on everyone to abide by international commitments and obligations. So I think our views are very clear on this topic. Since Anita's here with me, questions for Anita. Mose, you have a follow-up. We're not going to comment more on the specific case, but I'll give you the floor for the third time already today. So,
sorry, mistake. No more questions.
Okay, very good then. Thank you. Other questions for Anita? Yeah, go ahead.
Valeria Pashko, Public Broadcaster of Ukraine. Recently, the head of President's Office of Ukraine stated that Ukraine, along with its allies, is preparing a new unified peace plan. I'm wondering, is the EU taking part in the preparation of this plan? And if so, what is this plan all about? Thanks.
Thank you. No further details on this, but rest assured we're continuously working to support President Zelensky and Ukraine in its efforts to achieve a long and lasting peace. And this is why we see also through Putin's actions that he has just one aim: to continue his own destruction, but also the destruction of our security, and in particular by targeting Ukraine. So on our side, the resolve is even stronger. We have just had the 19th sanction package adopted. We're continuously working in supporting Ukraine throughout the military, financial, humanitarian support.
Other questions on Ukraine? Alex, I see your hand is... okay. I see your question in the chat. I do not see other questions on Ukraine specifically. Is it on Ukraine? Angela, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, then wait. Then it's actually for Olof. Thanks a lot for flagging already. Other questions for Anita? I'm not entirely sure. The question from Alex might be for Anita indeed. I'll read it out. It's, does the Commission have a comment on the US troop removal from Bulgaria, Hungary and Slovakia in the next month? How might that impact European security? Anita, you want to take it, or more for Thomas?
Just to briefly say, because we have seen indeed the announcements, we, as always, count on the US as a strong partner in supporting our efforts, but this also shows once more our need and our resolve to increase the spending when it comes to defense and our own security.
And there, Thomas can tell you all about it in case of need. Other questions for Anita? No? Then let's go to Angela. Thank you for Olof.
Angela Scugins from TVP World. It's on the Ukraine agri-grain trade deal. Politico is reporting that the Commission isn't ruling out taking Poland, Hungary and Slovakia to court. Is this true? And are there any other legal options that can be explored to see if the member states will drop this ban? And they argue that these bans are legal under the current framework. What's your take on this? Thanks.
Thanks for your question, Ange. So, to be very clear, this week the upgraded EU-Ukraine Deep and Comprehensive Free Trade Agreement, the DCFTA, entered into force. We believe that upgraded DCFTA strikes the right balance between offering the vital economic lifeline of good trading conditions to Ukraine, and on the other hand, offering robust and appropriate protections to our sensitive economic sectors here in the EU, notably certain agri-food sectors. On that basis, given that we believe and we're convinced that that balance has been appropriately struck, we do not believe there is any justification to prolong the export bans in the member states you mentioned. Based on that conviction, we will now engage with the aforementioned member states with a view to getting them to remove those bans. That's the only thing we're going to focus on at the moment, and that is our first priority. And we will consider all other options only when those talks don't lead to a desired conclusion.
You have a follow-up. Go ahead.
What will those engagements look like, and are there any face-to-face talks scheduled? When and with whom? Thank you.
Those engagements will look like engagements. So I can't tell you precisely what format they will take right now, but I can tell you that they will happen. And as I said, the main message we want to deliver on behalf of the European Commission, on behalf of the European Union, is that we now have a very good, robust rules base for trade between the European Union and Ukraine. We believe it delivers benefits to both sides while striking the appropriate balance between support for Ukraine and protections for certain European economic operators, notably farmers in sensitive agri-food sectors. And on that basis, we believe that should be the only protection required in terms of trade between Ukraine and the EU. I remind you that the upgraded DCFTA contains a very robust safeguard clause that provides more than adequate protection for our farmers, should they need it.
David, question on this.
Yes, thank you. Since some of those member states are in infringement situation since more than 2 years and a half, because it's basically an unilateral import ban against EU trade rules. Those member states got some help via special fund, I don't remember the name, on agriculture, 56 million euro, then 100 million euro. Then they got safeguards for the ATM in place. Then they got this new trade agreement which, has some guarantees and tariff beyond quotas and so on and so on. So I'm wondering why you want to talk again, since the dialogue, the engagement, the money, the safeguards didn't work with them. Why are you still waiting to act after 2.5 years on such an important issue as the support for Ukraine? Thank you.
Grazie, David. What is different, as I think I made quite clear, is that we now have a new trading framework in place. And with that new trading framework in place, we have a much stronger basis for engagement. So we engage. You hear me say often from here that the first priority and the first step the European Commission takes is engagement. And you're right, of course this is an ongoing issue. But there is a nouveauté here. There is an important development, and on that basis we intend to intensify our dialogue with these member states on this topic, as I have just said.
Question on the same matter. Not on this. I do not see other questions on this specifically. So if it's for Olof, we come to you. Yeah, go ahead.
Gina Smilik from the New York Times. Politico was reporting this morning that U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has been invited to Brussels on November 24th to talk to the bloc's trade ministers. I wonder if you could tell us anything about that invitation. Has it been accepted? Will he talk to Minister Šefčovič? And what's on the agenda for that event?
Thank you, Gina. Well, first of all, to say that, as you rightly pointed out, it is a trade council, which by definition is organised by the council. The invitation will have come from the council, therefore your question should be directed to the council. And at that fact trade, I haven't seen the agenda for it yet, but I mean, it's, the trade configurations are typically, the trade council configurations are usually to go through the state of play, the overall EU trade agenda picture, and also to get into some of the, the more, the priority questions at any given time. So that, I'm sure, is what will feature on the agenda for the fact trade on the 24th of November. And you can check with the Council if Secretary Lutnick has accepted their kind invitation or not.
I see a couple of hands raised from remote. I imagine they are for Olof. Jacob, we come to you.
Yeah, hi. Okay, I hear my stuff echo, but I'll just know that. So when the Ombudsman hired her head of cabinet to be the new Secretary General, which we reported today, is the Commission confident that the nomination procedure was followed correctly and that there is no risk of conflict of interest?
I have to say I'm not sure I understood the start of the question. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, sure. So the Ombudsman reported has hired her head of cabinet to be the new Secretary General of the watchdog. Are you confident that the nomination procedure was followed correctly and that there is no risk of conflict of interest?
I'm sorry, I understood the, are you confident that this is in line with the rules, etc., but I still failed to understand who was appointed for what. I don't know if it's me not hearing very well. Can you try again? Apologies. The last time, or maybe type it in the chat because I really can't. Okay, in any case, it's a question for Balázs. Balázs will come back to you. I am not sure if he grasped the question, but otherwise he will revert. William from remote.
Thank you. With Future Story News. Can I just get some updates? The China delegation, are those talks underway? Do you have any details for us on that? And secondly, I know the Indian government has said they've seen more domestic companies receiving licenses when it comes to rare earths. Has there been any movement that the Commission has seen on that, especially in the wake of the APEC meetings between the US and China? Has anything shifted? Thanks.
Thanks for your questions, Will. On the first one, yes, I confirm that the meetings between Commission experts and technical experts from China in the framework of the EU-China export dialogue are underway. They started this morning and will continue to around 5:30 p.m. today, subject to the usual changes. Could be shorter, could be longer, and we will provide updates from that meeting when they have concluded, including on your second question. So I would kindly ask for your patience, and we will get back to you all on that.
Thanks, Olof. Other questions on this? Go ahead.
Hi, Yuval Molina from Courtesy News. I just wanted to double check on what my colleague just asked. Is there going to be press opportunities, and if there are, will they be announced after the meeting has ended, meaning after 5 in the afternoon? Thank you.
Thanks for your question, but I mean, just to be very clear here, this isn't a political meeting, this is a technical meeting. We don't usually do press events. We never do press events, in fact, for technical meetings. In this instance, because there is a substantial degree of interest in the technical meeting and in the topic they are discussing, we will certainly issue some form of communication. I can't tell you exactly what that would be. That also depends on the substance of the meetings. There will be something. I can't tell you what precisely it will be or when precisely it will be issued. But it's important to understand that, anything we provide is to benefit journalists. Normally we wouldn't do that for a technical meeting. So, we get lots of questions on who's participating, what time, etc. We don't have to provide you with those details because it's a technical meeting, but we're going to give you as much information as we can, given the importance of the topic. So please bear with us. The meeting is scheduled to end at 5:30, and we'll know more by then.
Thanks, Olof. Other questions for Olof on the files he covers? Not the case. Before going to other questions, I now understood a bit better what I think it was Jack was speaking of. It's about ombudsman appointment. If I understand correctly, it's not for us to comment. It's an independent body, so you should ask the European Ombudsman. If you have more questions, Balázs is at your disposal, but I think we will not comment further. Rosia, go ahead.
Thank you. Razia Akoch, AFP News Agency. I have a question for Thomas. Because Executive Vice President Virkkunen had tweeted yesterday that she would be talking to Nexperia, and I just wanted to have some details of the meeting in terms of timing and what we should expect after, but I also would like to know what her purpose of the meeting is. What is she seeking to get from the talks with Nexperia? Thank you.
Thank you, Raz. So, I said it several times from this podium, chips are everywhere. We need them for our cars, we need them for medical devices, we need them for our defense industry, to name just a few sectors, obviously. In light of recent events and Europe needs, EVP Virkkunen met yesterday with major CEOs from the semiconductor industry, and as we speak, she just started a meeting with Nexperia indeed. What is the objective? The objective is first to get a clear picture of the situation of our industry in Europe. Second, the objective is also to support our industry in finding alternative solutions. And we also need, and this is the third point, structural solutions to have a resilient supply chain. Now, of course, all of this is vital for Europe's sovereignty as a whole. EVP is currently working on the CHIPS Act 2 that will come in Q1 2026. So all of this will indeed feed into the CHIPS Act 2. And let me recall also, and this is very important, this is part of a wider Commission effort, and this is fully complementary to Commissioner Šefčovič's work in finding diplomatic solutions with our international partners.
I see Tommaso has his hand raised on, perhaps it's on the same matter. Tommaso, we come to you.
Yes, many thanks, Tommaso Galavorte. It's on the same topic. It's on the CHIPS Act 2. May you please explain for which aspects the CHIPS Act 2 will be different from the CHIPS Act 1, which is, has been, it has been valid since September 2023, and it was not very, it didn't function very much. Many thanks.
Thanks for your assessment of the efficiency of the CHIPS Act. I have a slightly different view. it attracted more than 80 billion of investments to Europe for the semiconductor industry. This is my assessment of the CHIPS Act. Now, of course, the CHIPS Act 2 will work on the CHIPS Act 1. We can go deeper in this effort. We need to go deeper in this effort. And this is why we will also work to make our supply chain more resilient. We need more structural solutions beyond just attracting investments, which is, of course, very important. So this is the objective of the CHIPS Act 2. So it's fully building on the successful CHIPS Act that we already had.
Thanks, Thomas. Other questions on this? Go ahead.
Just a very practical question to know if we will have any kind of readout of the next Bulgaria meeting.
This I just discussed with the EVP. Indeed, you will have a readout after her meeting. It's an online meeting taking place, just started during midday. It's taking place, and you can expect some readout and deliverables after that from EVP. Yes.
Other questions on this matter? Not the case. Other questions for Thomas? Is it for Thomas? Go ahead.
Hello, Alice Tidy for News. I see Commissioner Kubilius is holding a call today with the British Defence Secretary. Would it be possible to get a state of play of where the negotiations are for the bilateral agreement that would allow the UK to participate in SAFE, and if we can expect white smoke before the November 30th deadline for Member States to submit their national plans? Thank you.
Thanks, Alice. I can confirm the meeting indeed. This is a general meeting on defense, but of course, safe negotiations will be discussed, obviously. Can we expect white smoke before the 30th of November? This is pretty much our hope. We're engaged in deep and very efficient negotiations. We're advancing at very quick speed, of course, and our objective is to find a solution and to have an agreement and to conclude the negotiations around mid-November.
Other questions for Thomas? Let's start from here, and then I'll continue throughout the press room.
Giacomo Piscioli, Bloomberg News. Just a periodic question I ask from time to time. Grumbles and rumors and requests to stop the clock on the AI Act are growing, deafening every day. Can we expect such a provision to be in the omnibus?
Thanks, Jan. You know how much I hate the word stop the clock. We never talked about stop the clock here from this podium, and we will never do that. We speak about common sense. The Commission is working with a lot of common sense. If you look at the situation, standards are late. We listen to our industry. We listen to our member states. And in this context, I can confirm that discussions and thinking is ongoing within here the European Commission. Why? Because we have a digital omnibus that is coming up. In that framework, we can address a certain number of concerns, but no decision has been taken at this stage. For this, you will have to wait for the omnibus. But let me just mention one very important point. The Commission is fully behind the AI Act, and this will never change, and will remain behind the objectives of our AI Act.
Thanks. With my murder background, I like the word stop the clock, but I guess it's a different background. You have a question. Go ahead.
Thank you. Come, Mustafa, I have a report. I have a question. I'm sorry, something wrong with my voice. A question concerning application of the Turkey and South Korea to the SAFE inclusion into SAFE program, and it was yesterday also discussed during the visit of Germany Chancellor to the Turkey. And what is the situation considering it's less than it's about a month till the deadline. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, surfing on what I said yesterday at midday, indeed, I mean, we have received an application from Turkey and South Korea, both of them to be fully associated to SAFE. Yes, we're looking into these requests, but no decision has been taken from our side.
You have a follow-up? Go ahead.
When you said we're looking at it, what exactly it's mean? Is there any discussion? Is there a negotiation or anything? It's just waiting before the deadline expires. Thank you.
No, we didn't start any negotiations with Turkey nor South Korea, because what are the potential next steps? If we want to start negotiations, we would have to adopt a recommendation that would go to the Council, and once we have a mandate from the Council, we can start negotiations, as we're currently doing with the UK and with Canada, and this is where our focus is.
Razia.
Are you able to elaborate exactly why a decision hasn't been made? Because I'm a bit confused as to how the EU's biggest economy and such a big player in this town and across the bloc is quite supportive of it, yet there's been no decision and no explanation as to why there's been no decision either. Thank you.
Thanks, Raz, because we need time to assess the requests. I mean, SAFE is still a very recent instrument. Our member states receive tentative allocations. We're currently already engaged in negotiations. We're not saying that Turkey is not an important partner, and we don't say that Turkey doesn't have strong defense capacities. I'm just saying that we have received a formal request. We're looking into it, and a decision will be taken once a decision can be taken.
Other questions for Thomas? Not the case. Before taking other questions, Jacob, I do see your question, which is an interesting one. Who ombuds the ombudsman? I'll leave this debate to Balázs to reach out to you bilaterally to discuss later. Other questions for us today on different topics. Go ahead.
Thanks. Jack Power from the Irish Times. Just a question about the housing summit that Commission President von der Leyen said would be held at some point next year for the first time. Can you give some indication, is that envisaged to be a meeting at leaders level or housing ministers level? What's the idea behind that summit? Thank you.
Can you repeat which summit?
It's at the housing summit. I think von der Leyen mentioned at the end of the European Council press conference that they'd host a summit on housing next year.
I don't have details myself, but perhaps Anna-Kaisa. Okay, let's see.
So this work is ongoing, but we do not have details in addition to what the President was saying about the summit, but the preparations are very much ongoing because there will be an action plan that will be presented as well on this very important topic. But on the summit itself, we have to, and you actually have to wait a little bit before we communicate on further details. But it's definitely ongoing, and especially the work on the deliverables that will be then discussed.
Work in progress. You have a follow-up, Jack.
Yeah, thanks. Just a very quick follow-up, and you may have already answered it, but is there an idea of whether this might happen within the first 6 months of next year, or maybe the second 6 months of next year? Thank you.
I don't think we have this details at this stage. The President has announced that we're working towards organizing the summit, but I don't think we have enough details set to be able to say exactly the timing or the invitees. We will need to wait for that. Our services are preparing it, but of course we will be able to announce it once we have more certainties around it. Yeah? Don't think there's other questions for Anna-Kaisa since she was here earlier. Other questions for us today on different topics? Not the case as far as I see. I'll give it a second more just in case. No. So before we conclude this midday briefing, there are a couple of words I would like to say. Donc, avant de vous quitter pour le week-end, nous avons tout de même un dernier message à partager. Notre collègue interprète en cabinet français, Marie Calieja, a achevé aujourd'hui une carrière de plus de 40 ans à la Commission après du service d'interprétation. Au nom de la Commission, nous la remercions pour son travail au cœur de toutes ces années et toutes les réunions et conférences de presse qu'elle a interprétées. Marie, nous te souhaitons beaucoup de bonheur dans ce nouvel chapitre de ta vie et merci encore pour tout. Merci. Et donc, to conclude this, thank you, of course, to all interpreters for their precious help every day, to all of you for having participated. We will be back on Monday with our next midday briefing. For the time being, have a very nice weekend. Goodbye.